This is KGW News at 11.
Make no mistake, this decision goes beyond abortion, as you've heard. The wrongful ruling is about who has power over you, who has the authority to make decisions for you, and who can control how your future is going to be.
I support the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I believe that millions of lives are going to be saved.
Lots of different perspectives there just a day after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The fight over abortion rights is intensifying around the country. Thousands of people are protesting from coast to coast as well. Good evening, and thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm Galen Etlin. States around the country have already banned abortion, and others are making moves to do the same. And this is despite multiple national polls spanning affiliation showing at least 60% of Americans support the right to an abortion. And the push to eliminate rights doesn't stop there. Pete Williams has details about what could be next.
The Supreme Court's 5-member majority said 50 years of abortion rulings, starting with Roe, should be overturned because the right to abortion is not, quote, deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. So does that mean other rights recognized by the court, including same-sex marriage and access to birth control, are also in trouble since they're not deeply rooted in history either? Justice Clarence Thomas said the court's rulings on contraceptives and gay marriage should be re-examined. But Justice Samuel Alito, who wrote the opinion striking down Roe, repeatedly said no. He said abortion is different because it ends, quote, a potential life. Some conservative legal experts say those other precedents are safe because same-sex marriage has a counterpart, opposite-sex marriage, that's protected, but abortion does not.
Ask me again in 50 years about this, but I think there's going to be a lot of hesitation on the court to strike down these other rights.
There's another factor. The Roe ruling was the product of a well-organized and sustained campaign to overturn it. By contrast, the Supreme Court recognized a right to same-sex marriage 7 years ago, and no such nationwide movement has formed to oppose it. Even so, there's nothing to prevent a future court from striking down those other rights for having no roots in history.
We now know that a majority of the Supreme Court wouldn't have recognized them in the first place. As to whether they would now reject them, the key point is that they've only been around, recognized by the Supreme Court for 5, 10, 15 years, which makes them much easier to overrule.
One of the court's conservatives, Brett Kavanaugh, said Friday's ruling does not threaten those other precedents, so Justice Thomas seems to be alone in questioning them, at least for now.
All right, the protests continued here in the Pacific Northwest along I-5 as well. Pro-choice supporters dropped banners over the interstate at North Missouri Avenue and Ainsworth, demanding lawmakers and courts not make rules regulating people's bodies. This was part of a larger demonstration from the border with Canada all the way to the one with Mexico. In addition to the signs demanding a ban off bodies, people posted websites where people can get access to safe medical abortions.
Because we know legality is not just the answer. We know that people need to be able to afford the care that they're getting. They need to be able to access it in their communities and not have to drive hundreds of miles, which is what many folks in Eastern Oregon are now going to experience with Idaho's ban going into effect.
And we'll get to that Idaho piece here. Some people took action overnight against a local Catholic church first, though, in Northeast Portland. Someone vandalized its signs with a message: if abortions are not safe, neither are you. Now, for context, Catholic Church leadership praised the Supreme Court's decision that ended Roe v. Wade, even though a majority of U.S. Catholics support abortion rights. Now, Oregon abortion protections will likely stay the same, but with abortion now illegal in multiple states and others adding restrictions in the coming days and weeks, Oregon will likely see people coming here for services. Now, this is a map from the New York Times showing where abortion access will decline. It's based on proximity of abortion clinics that still exist in states that will keep abortion legal. Most abortion clinics in Oregon are along the I-5 corridor, which you can see marked by the dots in this map. Now, the only one close to Eastern Oregon is in Bend. And according to this map, illegal abortions in far Eastern Oregon, specifically Malheur County, could drop by 25 to 30%. And that's because most people who live there travel to clinics in Idaho, only an hour or so away. So to get to Bend, it takes 4 hours. And Planned Parenthood says it's preparing for that.
Bend is been a center of attention for us. It is fully staffed. We do have providers. We do believe that Bend will begin to see potentially more patients, and I'm very confident in that staff in Bend to meet the need.
Planned Parenthood is also preparing to open a clinic in Ontario, Oregon, right on the Idaho border, but it's not clear when that clinic will open.
Eastern Oregon is a region, among others, that geographically creates obstacles to access the services Planned Parenthood provides. The City of Ontario is one place we are working to establish a clinic. I do not have more details on the timing. As every Planned Parenthood always does, we follow all the permitting and regulatory processes, and that takes time.
A recent study also shows Washington could see a 385% increase in patients seeking abortions. Dr. Charlie Brown is an OBGYN from Seattle, and we're not going to show his face because he is receiving death threats. But he said this topic is just too important to stay silent. Brown says he's already seen impacts from the Supreme Court's decision.
Just within the first few hours of clinic after the SCOTUS announcement, we probably saw an increase of about 25%. Of calls from patients who were outside of Washington.
Because of the increase in the number of patients, the City of Seattle, King County, and Governor Jay Inslee want to provide more funds for medical facilities that provide reproductive care. Not all agree. Washington State Senator Mike Patton says that money should be used, quote, in a much better way. Governor Inslee, meanwhile, says although abortion is a right in Washington, anti-abortion advocates are trying to press states to ban them. He worries people are at risk of losing the right for the first time in multiple generations. He said in the past 6 years, some Republicans in Congress there have introduced 40 bills to take away a right to choose.
We have to understand, because of this Republican assault on women's rights in this state, without a constitutional amendment to solidify this right under our state's constitution, we are one Republican majority of losing the right of choice in the state of Washington.
Inslee said he'll ask the state legislature to pass a constitutional amendment in Washington protecting the right of choice. The governor said he cannot guarantee the amendment would pass, but said voters can choose state representatives and senators who will support that choice.